So you're a Java developer. You're seeing all the insane hype around generative AI, and you're thinking, okay, this is cool, but how do I actually plug these things into my robust, enterprise-grade Spring applications? Well, you can forget that whole sea of Python scripts and messy APIs. We are about to show you the direct bridge. All right, here's the game plan. First, we'll see how Java and AI finally get to shake hands. Then we're going to break down the core concepts you absolutely have to know, no fluff. After that, the fun stuff. We'll build smarter using intelligent patterns, then power them up for production. And finally, we'll see the massive edge this gives you. So what is this bridge I'm talking about? It's Spring AI. Seriously, think of it as the Spring native way to just cut through all the noise. It gives you one single, consistent API, so you can stop worrying about if you're calling OpenAI or Anthropic, or maybe a local model with Ollama. You write your code once, and it just works everywhere. Okay, before we can start building all the cool stuff, we've got to speak the language. You've probably heard all the jargon flying around, words like tokens and embeddings. Don't worry about it. We're about to make these concepts totally clear and, more importantly, really tangible for you as a developer. First up, tokens. Here's the deal. A model doesn't really read words, it sees tokens. And this is so critical because every single model has what's called a context window. That's a hard limit on how many tokens it can think about at one time. To give you some perspective, the entire works of Shakespeare is about 1.2 million tokens. A model like GPT-4 might have an 8K window, while something like Anthropic's Claude can handle a whopping 100K. Knowing this limit is job number one. And here it is, the most important slide of them all, probably. Tokens equal money. Period. Every single token you send to a model and every single one it sends back, it hits your bill. This isn't just some abstract technical limit. It's a real financial one. For us developers in this new world, writing efficient, token-conscious code is now a core part of the job. Okay, next up, embeddings. This is where the magic really happens. An embedding turns the meaning of your text, or even an image, into a big list of numbers, what we call a vector. Now, why is that so powerful? Because once meaning becomes math, you can do amazing things, like instantly find the most relevant document in a huge library just by finding the vectors that are closest together. And you don't need to be a data scientist. Spring AI handles all that heavy lifting for you. Now this is where it's all going to click for you as a Spring developer. Spring AI does this brilliant thing where it connects these new AI concepts to patterns you already know and love. A prompt template, it's basically the view layer for your AI. Just like in Spring MVC, you define a template with some placeholders, you pass in a model object to fill them in, and that rendered text becomes your final prompt. It's a pattern you've known for years, and it's incredibly powerful here. All right, with those basics under our belt, it's time to level up. Let's move from just understanding the concepts to actually building truly intelligent applications, solving some complex, real-world problems using the patterns that are baked right into Spring AI. So here's the classic problem you're going to hit almost immediately. Most of these big models have a knowledge cutoff. GPT-4, for instance, its training data just stops in September 2021. So how in the world do you get it to know anything about your private company data or answer questions about what happened last week? Well, you've really got two main options. There's fine-tuning, which is this old-school ML approach that's incredibly complex and expensive. And then there's the much more practical approach for most of us, Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. It's a really fancy name for a simple, beautiful idea. Find relevant information from your own data and just stuff it right into the prompt. And this is that RAG pipeline in action. Think of it like a mini ETL job, but for your AI. You extract data from your documents, PDFs, whatever, you transform it into smaller, meaningful chunks, and then you load those as embeddings into a vector database. Then, when a user asks a question, your app retrieves the most relevant chunks and augments the prompt with that fresh, up-to-date context. Spring AI has all the tools to make this entire flow seamless. The other absolute game-changing pattern is tool calling. This is how you let the language model actually interact with the outside world by calling your own Java methods. You just define a function, and the model itself decides when to use it. It literally tells your app, hey, call this tool with these arguments. Your app runs the code, sends the result back, and the model uses that new info to give a final, much more informed answer. This is how you connect your AI to live data. Look, building a cool prototype is one thing, but shipping a reliable, enterprise-grade AI application, that is a completely different ballgame. So let's look at the power-ups Spring AI gives you to go from that initial demo all the way to production. Oh, man, anyone who's worked directly with these models knows this pain. You ask for JSON, you get back a string that kind of looks like JSON, and then you just cross your fingers and pray that your parser doesn't blow up. Spring AI's structured output converters, they end this nightmare. You can ask for a response that maps directly to your Java Pojo. It's type-safe, it's reliable, and there's no more brittle string parsing. It's amazing. And modern AI isn't just about text anymore, not by a long shot. It's multimodal. These models can now understand images, audio, entire documents. Spring AI totally embraces this with a simple media interface. This makes it trivial to include an image or a PDF right there in your prompt along with your text. And that just unlocks a whole new universe of applications you can build. All right, let's talk about efficiency and cost. Imagine you have a really big system prompt or a complex set of tool definitions that you have to send with every single request. That is a ton of repeated tokens. And as we've already learned, that costs you money and it adds latency. Spring AI, especially when you're using providers like Anthropic on AWS Bedrock, has this beautiful solution, prompt caching, and it gives you really fine-grained control. You can choose to cache just the system prompt, or just your tool definitions, or even the entire conversation history. It lets you dial in that perfect balance between performance and cost. So let's see how this works. On the very first request, the model has to process all of those tokens in your system prompt to create the cache entry. So you have a high cache creation token count. That's your one-time investment. But then look at this. On the second request and every single one after that, the creation cost plummets to 0. The model just reads from its cache. You save a huge number of tokens on every single call, which directly translates to lower bills and faster responses. This is an absolutely essential feature for any production system. And there's even more. With some models, you can get citations that actually link the answers back to your source documents, which is huge for building trust with your users. You can use skills to have the model generate and download actual Excel files, and with thinking mode, you can literally see the model's step-by-step reasoning, which is fantastic for transparency and for debugging. So, after all that, what does it really all mean for you as a Spring developer? Well, it means you have a brand new superpower. Let's just wrap this all up with the key takeaways. Here's what you really need to remember. First, Spring AI gives you a clean abstraction layer, so you code to one API, not a dozen. Second, it's deeply integrated into the Spring ecosystem, so it feels natural and familiar. Third, it gives you ready-to-use solutions for those powerful patterns like RAG and tool calling. And finally, and most critically, it comes loaded with production-ready features that take you from experiment to enterprise. You see, the world of generative AI isn't some separate universe anymore, reserved for Python and data scientists. The bridge to the Java ecosystem has been built, and it goes directly into the frameworks you use every single day. The power is officially in your hands. So the only question left is, what are you going to build first?